Welcome back, guys.
Welcome back.
This is what you've been waiting for.
To Scary Encounters number 2.
Episode 2, guys. I promised we were going to talk about what we all the experiences we had.
So we're gonna be talking about what happens at an old house. What was happening on
This is the house
old
he was born and raised in for 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
Now, obviously, he's a lot older, but for the first 7 years, we actually lived in this house across town that we own and stuff, and we ended up coming to selling because of these stories here that we're about to tell you guys. So let's just give you a quick breakdown of what's going on.
So there's like 3 major things that happened to us at the old house, but
Right. There's small, among other things, smaller things that we can't remember. This was years ago, but the main one I would say is that I remember is
so yeah, go then.
this weird feeling that I would get in our bedroom. It was a 2-story house, and upstairs there was actually the 3 bedrooms, and the 2 kids' room were on one side, and obviously the main room's over in the corner down the hall, and we had 2 bathrooms upstairs too, the living room area. Okay, but the whole time since I lived there, my son's room was one, and then we had the guest room right next to each other, and there's always like a weird vibe that I felt in the spare bedroom. Every time you walk near it, it's just like a weird presence.
Me too.
That was consistently there, and every time I would walk by, I would just look into the room, and I never saw anything there, but when I walked by, but I always felt it, and we thought it was strange because it was a brand new home. It was built in a brand new neighborhood, and no one's lived there before, and we were like, okay, well, why is there a strange presence there that's so strong and noticeable? That kind of creeps me out. But
like, I didn't like that room. I never went in there at all. I did once.
I did notice that you never really went in there.
Yeah, but I did once open the door and I looked around. And I didn't see anything. I just closed it.
Well, yeah, that's the thing, is like we never really saw anything, but it's really what we experienced, that I experienced a lot too. My first interesting story was I've always didn't want to be in that room, but me and my wife had gotten in a fight one night, and she was like, she took me out to the doghouse. Okay, so my doghouse was that spare room. I should have been in the backyard in the doghouse for reals, but in the spare bedroom, I ended up staying a night, and I was kind of drunk that night because we got in an argument, so I kind of drank my sorrows away, and I ended up crashing out in the room. Okay. But in the random time around 2-3 in the morning, this light turns on. And for some reason, it kind of wakes me up and shooks me up, because I'm thinking like, maybe my wife's trying to tell me to come back to the bedroom and kind of make up and stuff. So I wake up and I look up and I get out and look around. No one's there.
But the light's on, right?
The light's on. The lights turned on. I'm asleep and the lights were off and the lights turned back on. So that's why I woke up, because the lights turned on. But my son's a lot younger. So it wasn't him. 2-3 in the morning. It wasn't my wife.
Asleep.
I looked and checked, and she was asleep. So I was like, okay. So I walked in the room, and I'm basically like, I'm kind of drunk, and I'm like not in the mood. I just wanted to pass back out. And I turned the lights off, and I jumped right back into bed. Not even a few seconds later, sure enough, click, light turns on. So normally I would be like freaked out, and I'd be like, okay, what the heck was that? And I was in my, little drunken phase. I was like, I ain't got time for this. Spirits, man, y'all need to leave me alone. I don't got time for it. I don't care. Turn off the lights and went back to bed. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But, man, something was like messing with me there. And I was just like, what the heck is that about? So I kind of took it. I was like, okay, I let it go. I told my wife about it. And, she was like, yeah, man, that room creeps me out, I was like, yeah. And we had her parents living there one time, and they were talking about how they didn't like staying there, so they moved out. And even her brother stayed there for a while and kind of gave us, hey, have you noticed anything strange about that room? And I was like, yeah, I have noticed something strange in that room. But later on, like, what kind of really creeped me out is we had some cats that lived with us, a couple cats we had at the time, Tigress and Monkey and stuff like that. And my son had noticed something weird with them.
So yeah, let me tell y'all this story. So this happened, like this was happening a lot like every time I would like go up to my room, I would see my cat, because we had a couple of cats there at the house. One of them being the first
Tigress.
cat that we got named Tigress, and so I would always see her in these dumb bugs. I would always see her just staring at the door of the guest room, of the spare bedroom. I would always see her staring at it,
Making weird noises too.
making just put like making the
it's
cat
like
noise.
like if it's about to, like it's an alley cat trying to get in a fight.
Yeah,
And of course, it was a room. It was just there. And people say, like, animals could kind of sense things that humans can't. So what's weird is, like, it was always over there every time, like, just staring at the room sometimes.
yeah, always just like
For a period of time. And I always thought that was strange, too. Like, what the heck is Tigress doing up there just staring at that room and making that freaking noise, man? Back then, I didn't really look into supernatural stuff, and I wasn't really thinking about things like that. I wasn't like, man, it's ghosts or something. But at the time now I'm looking back and experiencing all this stuff, like, we're putting everything together. It's like, man, this thing has been messing with us for a while now.
So yeah, it's just I always thought that was strange. I always didn't like that.
Right.
I didn't like that was happening.
It's like you get creeped out when your animal sees something that you can't see. And then the fact that I had experienced one night staying in the room and the lights being turned on and off unexplicably is kind of strange. But the reason why we don't stay there anymore is because at one point I was in my bedroom with my wife sleeping, and obviously I'm sure y'all have heard of sleep paralysis, right? Sleep paralysis is one of the creepiest things that you could experience. And basically scientists kind of write it off as, hallucinations and everybody that's having, the same kind of, experience. But when you go through it, it's a different thing. And it's the only time I ever had sleep paralysis, and hopefully it's the last time. But if you don't know what sleep paralysis is basically in the middle of the night, you would wake up at some point where you have no ability to move at all. You're like paralyzed, but your mind's still there. It's like you're awake, but your body's not awake. But not only that,
like the only thing you can move is your eyes. You
Right.
cannot speak.
Right.
You cannot move your arms. You cannot move. You just glued to the bed.
and not only that, you're like, for some reason you're full of fear. You wake up and, like, just imagine you're asleep and you wake up just fully afraid of something, right? So I already knew what sleep paralysis was, luckily. And so when I woke up and I can't move and I'm paralyzed and I'm full of fear lying in my bed, and I'm like, okay, what the heck, man? This is sleep paralysis. So luckily I'm like very aware of what's going on. But I'm like freaking out and I'm trying to scream my wife's name. I'm like, Lisa. I'm like just trying to scream at the top of my lungs, and I can't make a noise. I'm just like screaming. And okay, so I'm thinking, like, what's next? Okay, so normally there's like some kind of spirit that people see. So I'm like looking in my room, trying to like look around in my darkness in the room and see if I can see anything. And then I'm like, what am I doing? And I start praying to God. I'm telling you, Jesus, the power of Jesus is the only thing that's going to stop any of these spirits. Whether you're in the middle of the woods, whether you're in a scary house, whether you're sleeping and you're experiencing sleep paralysis. That's the only thing that can save you. And I was born Christian, so that's what I started doing. I started praying right away. Hey, Jesus, God, I need you, man. I need you to help me, buddy. I don't know what's going on, but I need you to help me right now. And as soon as I started praying, I felt like I woke up.
Like you woke up, yeah.
Right, and I could move, and I was shook up. Like my whole body, all my hairs was standing up on my arms and legs. And
goosebumps.
Goosebumps.
And everything, yeah.
So I was like, I woke up, I was like, oh my God, what the hell is that?
Mm-hmm.
But it was one of the most frightening things I ever been through. I don't get scared. It takes a lot for me to get scared. You know what I mean? Like, but when it comes to that, you just wake up and you're full of this fear and adrenaline that's going on. You just have this instinct, but you're by yourself. Like, I'm screaming for my wife, but it wasn't like she could hear me. But that just put a like I was between that room that's always being like something going on and all the people complaining and the cats just randomly staring and
Yeah,
hissing
it's
at
all
it and
it's all
stuff.
weird.
And I have a young son, my son in the house, and I don't feel safe with him there. And I went through the sleep paralysis, and it takes a lot for me to get worked up.
And we're gonna end it soon, actually, like right now, because my because it says right there I have to end it soon. Okay.
All right, guys, but I just want to give you that update. That's our scary stories number 2. We catch you in the next one, guys.
Yeah. Bye, guys.
Bye.